Deep within the emerald wild alone, hermit seeks sanctuary far from modern distractions. He forces his way through a narrow rock crevice, establishing a foothold in this unforgiving terrain. A makeshift wooden bridge is built to cross the perilous entrance. This is not mere exploration, but a calculated quest for absolute isolation. Pushing through the waist-high shrubs, the survivor meticulously observes the surroundings, returning to a massive reddish tree to confirm his bearings before stepping across the threshold into the shadows. Examining the uneven ground, he evaluates the soil quality and spatial layout, formulating a comprehensive plan for his future subterranean dwelling. Every detail is scrutinized to ensure the sanctuary meets his exacting standards. The tool returned an empty string, which means the syllable count is now within the target range. I can output the final result entering a dense bamboo grove. The craftsman carefully assesses the thickness and straightness of each trunk, testing their resilience with deliberate shakes before making a final selection for his construction project. With rhythmic strikes, his machete bites into the wood, sending splinters flying into the air as he systematically fells the chosen timber. Only the straightest and most resilient trunks will suffice for his grand design, ensuring structural integrity for what lies ahead. He strips away the branches with practiced ease, hoisting the clear trunk onto his shoulder. Returning to the moss-covered cliff face, he drives a long wooden pole deep into the rock crevice. After shaking it repeatedly to confirm absolute stability, he wedges a thicker log beneath as a diagonal brace. This careful alignment ensures that every joint bears the weight of his survival without compromise, forming a rigid and unyielding support against the stone. He shifts the horizontal beams, leaning forward to test their load-bearing capacity against the jagged rock. Each movement is deliberate, ensuring the wood sits securely on the protrusions. Kneeling on the ledge, he retrieves nails and a hammer, driving them precisely into the intersecting joints to lock the structure. He moves to the opposite end, repeating the reinforcement until the framework is firmly anchored between the cliff and the cave entrance. Task complete, he rises steadily, crossing the new bridge into the dark interior while glancing back to clear away scattered debris. Sawing through the massive logs, pressing down firmly with his left hand, the hermit drives a yellow handsaw across the marked red line, generating a shower of fine sawdust. Once severed, he stands the wooden stump upright for splitting. He places a long machete vertically on top, then strikes its spine heavily with a short wooden mallet. The blade sinks deep into the wood fibers with continuous heavy blows. The plank splits apart and slides to the side. He catches it carefully, checking if the thickness is uniform. The raw timber is thus transformed into the foundation of his new home. Splitting the timber, clearing the debris, the freshly split boards are stacked together with a strong sense of rhythmic labor, transforming raw nature into usable building materials for his shelter. Kneeling to secure the wood, he uses the front of his machete like a plane, scraping away thin curls to achieve a perfectly smooth surface on each plank. Precision in every stroke guarantees a flawless finish for the impending floor construction, showcasing his meticulous craftsmanship and dedication to quality. Hauling the heavy bundle, hoisting the massive stack of boards onto his shoulder, he marches back into the depths of the jungle, his footsteps echoing softly through the dense trees. Returning to the previously built wooden frame, he carefully unloads the timber and unties the binding ropes. He then begins laying the first plank horizontally across the supporting beams, striking it firmly to ensure it sits flat. The arduous journey back marks a clear transition from gathering raw materials to the actual process of building his shelter. The construction of guardrails begins. Holding a long log, the hermit measures its height against the cave, attempting to embed it into the upper rock groove for stability. With continuous heavy strikes, he drives iron nails deep, securing the crossbeam to the top of each vertical post. Short wooden pieces are positioned below as reinforcing ribs, adding essential strength under the forest canopy. His final nail is driven home with power, revealing that safety is not an afterthought, but the core of his engineering. Compacting the earth, gripping a heavy mallet, He forcefully drives a wooden peg into the muddy cave floor, raising a cloud of fine dust with every impact. After trimming the support ends with an axe, the first thick plank is laid upon the temporary scaffold, ensuring the walkway is firmly anchored to the ground. With precise strikes, long nails are hammered deep into the wood, locking each board in place. He clears away the sawdust and sits on the new platform, examining the structural stability of the path. A solid foundation is the invisible backbone of any enduring structure, demanding both patience and unyielding structure from its builder. Pounding the foundation, grabbing a heavy log, he uses his waist strength to slam it repeatedly into the ground, causing visible tremors upon impact to compact the earth. After finishing the tamping, he brushes the dust from his hands and stands upright. Walking to the rocky shadows, he retrieves a military green water bottle. He tilts his head back for a long drink, his Adam's apple bobbing. A sweat slides from his forehead. He surveys the wooden corridor built by his own hands, revealing a hint of solace in his expression. He caps the bottle, returns it to its place, and gazes at the unfinished railing area, ready to camp to face the next stage of challenges. Hydration and rest are merely brief pauses in his relentless pursuit of progress. Crouching at the cave's edge, he hammers boards onto crossbeams, methodically sealing irregular rock gaps with precise strikes. Deep inside the cavern, his shadowed figure lays the final planks, establishing a barrier that isolates the interior from the elements. He then crosses the bridge to a sunlit clearing, leaving the sealed shelter behind. Crafting the door frame ranging 4 and even wooden strips into a rectangular shape, he adjusts their overlapping positions to determine the exact dimensions of the massive entrance door. Once aligned, he drives long nails into the joints using his body weight to prevent the frame from deforming during assembly. The dimensions must be flawless, for this door is his only shield against the wild. With a rhythmic saw, cuts planks to fit snugly within the structure. Each board is carefully placed and tapped into position, ensuring a tight interlocking seal that leaves no room for error. Assembling the heavy door, driving the final nails, he finishes the assembly and looks toward the cave, preparing for the ultimate installation of the heavy wooden barrier. Exerting immense arm strength, he lifts the solid wooden door from the ground with a hint of satisfaction on his face. Carrying it across the swaying bridge, he drags it inside the narrow space. The sheer weight of the door reflects the impenetrable nature of his sanctuary. Securing the entrance, standing outside, he closes the heavy door and steps back, admiring how perfectly it integrates with the surrounding rock and wood walls to form a solid, satisfied. He locks the temporary latch and heads back into the forest, balancing 2 long bamboo pools on his right shoulder as he steps onto the bridge. The bridge trembles, yet his resolve remains entirely unshaken. Installing the railing standing on the suspended bridge, he adjusts the vertical angle of a thick wooden post against the deep rock wall, ensuring perfect alignment for the railing structure. Straddling the edge, he swings a heavy mallet to drive long iron nails into the base of the post, followed by carefully wedging long poles between the uprights. Each hammered nail brings him one step closer to total security and lasting stability. Finishing the perimeter from a high vantage point, the winding bridge along the cliff comes into view. The hermit stands at the head, focusing on the guardrail nearest the rock face to complete the final touches, with the last support piece installed with precision. He straightens up and wipes sweat from his brow, showing fleeting relief. He walks back and forth along the new railing to test its stability. The bridge now appears both pleasing and secure, transforming a precarious ledge into a safe haven. Laying the stone steps inside the cave, he clears away the loose topsoil to find a solid bearing point for the first stone stair, preparing the foundation for the entrance. Lifting a heavy, irregular rock, he embeds it into the dug pit and repeatedly stomps on it with his feet to prevent any future wobbling. Stepping onto the new platform to verify its height, he then exits the bridge, walking through the dense forest, leaving the structure standing alone in a final silent shot. Gathering the firewood, carrying a large bundle of dry bamboo and wood through the wooden door, he enters the dimming cave, enhancing the sense of enclosure and security. Setting the wood by the fire pit, he meticulously sorts the materials, his rough fingers deftly selecting the perfect tinder while shaving paper-thin bark with a knife. A quick spark from the lighter ignites the delicate shavings. As thin smoke rises, he gently fans the flames, guiding the fire to spread steadily among the larger logs. Fire is not just a source of warmth, but the ultimate triumph over the encroaching wilderness. Boiling the harvest, uncapping a military green water bottle. He slowly pours clear water into the pot, filled with corn. The flow clearly visible in the dim light of the cave. Placing the heavy iron pot over the fire, he sits beside the flames, waiting patiently in the spacious and dry cavern until the steam begins to rise. With practice ease, he lifts a single ear from the boiling water, setting it on a wooden board to cool. The rising steam signifies the return of basic human comforts to the wild seeking sustenance. He moves to the edge of the wooden bed and takes a large bite of corn, his expression revealing deep satisfaction after a day of grueling labor focused on the meal. He chews steadily, savoring the pure moment of nourishment as husks fall onto his lap. After finishing the first ear, he reaches for a second from the pot, peeling and eating with seamless rhythm. This simple act of consumption serves as the ultimate reward for his monumental physical exertion, grounding him in the quiet comfort of survival. Preparing for the night, rising to clear the wooden bed, he picks up his water bottle and takes a drink before tightening the cap and glancing back at the pitch-black night. In the complete darkness, he adds fresh wood to the dying embers, making the sparks leap again before settling against the rock wall to arrange his bedding. Vigilance in the dark ensures he survives to build another day. The hermit remains alert, scanning the shadows with a cautious eye, knowing that safety is never guaranteed in this isolated wilderness.